So I spent a little while getting all the nuts and bolts out, taking the prop shafts off. That's easy enough. Taking the handbrake off, you'll see that underneath. Speedo cable out. All the bolts out the bell housing, they're all gone. But you'll notice I've made a frame here. You see this thing here? And the reason for that is it's got a little tube on it which has so I've got a strap going around the gearbox. And now that really helps because we can use this on any Land Rover, but the R380 in particular, the cross member is the rear body support, rear gearbox support. So it makes it kind of difficult using my gearbox lifting equipment to get the gearbox out and the cross member at the same time. So what I've done is I've rigged this little bar up here that going across here, and because I don't think this will be the last 300 TDI we take out, and I've pulled it up tight against the bottom of the seat box. You see that angle there? So now I can take the cross member out, that thing down there, keep the gearbox where it is, drop the cross member out and allow it to put my frame on, and then the gearbox will just simply come out. But there's something else that a lot of people forget when they're taking gearboxes out of these things. Let me show you. Although the engine's pretty well balanced, it will tip backwards when we're taking the gearbox out, so it will tip like this. So I take the top hose off, I don't drain any coolant out, and I also take the turbo hose off and the fan. My, that was a bugger to get off. Somebody really tightened that up, but fortunately I've got my toolometer to get that off. And so when the engine tips, there's no chance of the fan going through the radiator or stressing the radiator and cracking the hose. Again, ounce of prevention, pound of cure. So hopefully now I can push this back onto the position of the jack, lift it up, get that gearbox out. It shouldn't take that long, but I'll show you what the bits and pieces I've done undone. So I hope you can see here, I've got the handbrake. I disconnected it off the back of the transfer box and just swung it out the way and tie wrapped it up to the side of the chassis. The front exhaust pipe's off both ends, but it won't come out because of this cross member. And you can see, just to see there, the bottom of the strap holding the gearbox in. So now if I put my what do you call it, the hydraulic jack in, I should be able to press open that frame and drop out that cross member. And then all I have to do is get the exhaust out the way, and then there's 3 bolts under there, 3 holes, fasten on my gearbox removing adapter, and then just pull it out. Now I've got to be delicate pulling this out because underneath here somebody's been playing around with all this wire, and the reverse light, instead of having a connector, they've just spliced up the wires together, and I can't get my hand in to get it off, so I'm going to have to sort of drop it down a little way and get it out. I hope it's going to work. Well, we'll find out. Anyway, so that's the next thing we're up to. Now I'm looking at the oil on the floor, and that looks kind of reddish. Well, I'm just wondering if it's sort of the crank seal's okay and it's actually the gearbox input seal's gone. I don't know. We'll soon find out. So with the hydraulic jack in, or the porta power, I'm going to push this chassis apart, and hopefully this cross member will fall out without falling on my head. Ooh. How easy was that? Now you can see the gearbox now is still supported up here on this strap. I can now fasten my adapter onto here, drop the gearbox down and pull it out. Let's drop this out. Will this exhaust come out? Will it buggery? Oh dear, it's jammed up. There we go. Must remember to put that back in. Right, so let's get the adapter on and we'll drop this down a bit. Now, like I said, there's cables up here which for things I don't know what to do. But I don't know how I've got the ground off. Oh, wait a minute, what's this here? I think this is it. Oh, oh whatever it is, it pulled it off. I think that's the ground. Oh man, there's clips and wires and tie wraps all over the place. Let me get ready to get this gearbox out. Probably won't be able to see much here because I'm going to have to crawl around underneath. Ow. And get this box off somehow. It should move. Strap off, but unfortunately I put the strap around the stand as well at the same time. I don't know if you see much here. There we are. Should be able to see it coming down. Now, it's coming down, but I have to be just a bit careful for all these wires that's in the back. Oh, what jokers. They've put bloody cable ties around the damn it all. One thing, like I say, when you're not using familiar stuff, and of course we haven't got a key down here. I'll get a key now. I should have really fastened up the things to the bolt body, not to the car, to the gearbox. Right. Let's get him off. And very tight. Very tight, but you can, I don't know if you can see all the wires pulling up here. So that's the diff lock lights off. Run your hand around, make sure there's no more pipes and wires. I know we're on the floor, it's not a very good place to work, but well, it's better than nothing, I suppose. Better than in a mud field. There you go. She's down. And no tears either. So, let's lift up the jack. Get this bloody thing out. So let's pull the clutch off. And see what it's like. Oh, it's a good one. It's nice and dry. Yeah, that's okay, we can use that again. Hurrah! But if we look at the housing, I don't know if you can see up inside here, my light's not looking too good. You can see oil sprayed in there, so we'll pull that off. Let's go and have a look at the bell housing and see the oil inside. It definitely looks like it's the flywheel from here. Let me stop this and see if I can move the camera. You can see oil has sprayed, black oil sprayed all over there. Definitely looks like the seal. Yeah, not a problem. We'll soon sort that out. I've got to replace the clutch hose by the look of it, because I think the oil must have been dripping for a while, because it's made the rubber go all perished. Anyway, let's go and have a look at the bell housing. You know, the funniest thing is, this doesn't look like it's done that many miles, but there's red oil coming out of here. But is it engine oil, or is it ATF? The shaft seems nice and tight. You know, there's nothing wrong there. Just a lot of oil everywhere. I'm just wondering. See, it doesn't look red out of there, but it looks a little bit red down at the bottom. I don't know what to think. Do you know something? I'm going to dip the engine oil and find out. I've just pulled out the dipstick, and I think we can see straight away the differences in the colour of the oil. That is transmission oil, and it's leaking out of there now. I'm just wondering, this seems quite a new setup. I'll have to reseal this here, but I think tomorrow, because it's a bit late now, Sunday, got to get to church. But I'm thinking, I wonder if this has been, the vent's been blocked. I wonder if the vent's blocked and it can't get any air to it. And it's built up pressure and come out the seal here. Because you see there's, I don't know if you can see how clearly you can see. This one here, there's red oil on it, look. Yeah. So I think I don't think there's much of a job to do in here. I think it's just replace that seal, knock this out, and fasten it back up again. Yeah, well, that'd be good. At least we don't have to buy a clutch. Saved a few quid, but oil leak's no good. Yeah, so let's see what tomorrow brings. Anyway, I'm fed up with this today.